Okay, so basically this is how it works. Patrick, you have a pretty good file overlap here, which is what you need to get started. And so it looks like the way you've handled the opacity, we mostly have kind of medium gray shapes on a light background. So to do the demo, I'm just going to make some of those medium shapes darker to create the dark on light grouping for a small area. And what you want to do for all of these, all four, both the two abstract and the two representational, textual, symbolic, whatever you're doing with that, you want to make sure that you're selecting an area where there's a lot of different shapes overlapping, and you have quite a number of areas that are like that, like this whole area here that I'm going to work with, but also here's pretty good, this is pretty good. Areas where you've got the line drawing from the symmetry, asymmetry. There's a lot of areas here that you can work with. But for our purposes, I'm going to use this kind of grouping over here on the right. So I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. And basically what you want to do here is you want to use the selection tool, which is up in the upper kind of left-hand corner. It's the S thing. So that's the selection tool. And you want to set it to automatic, which you see down here, and you want to have color fill set. And what that does is it will select the shape that you're, hitting either with your pen or your finger, whatever, and it will change it to the gray that you want it to be selecting, like either dark gray, light gray, medium gray, whatever. And so the key to doing that, the first thing is you have to have the selection tool selected, and then take a look in the upper right. I'm going to slide, whoops. Hang on, there we go. See this up, it says selection threshold, okay? And right now it's at 0, and you want to slide your finger or your pen over like up near the top, and it will increase the threshold. Now it's up 28%, that's way too high. Okay, you want to make sure you're down like around 2%. So I'll take it up to 2% or 1.9. I'll stop right there. Now in the process, it's already selected and color filled some of the shapes. So I just, double finger it and make all that stuff go away. So now I have this nice area here that I can fill in with darker gray shapes to create the dark figure grouping, the emphasis grouping that will be against a lighter gray background. So what I'm going to do is go up to, the color here. And normally when I'm working with color, I use the color wheel, the disc, which we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks. But for this assignment where we're not really using color, we're just using grays. I think it's easier just to, use the classic, as they call it, and just slide your, slide up and down and select your, from white to medium to dark grays. So we're going to be working with dark grays. So that's what I'm going to pick. So I'm kind of moving my pen down here. I'll take that color, and then I go back. I hit the selection tool, and again, I have automatic and color fill selected, and then I just tap the shapes I want to be that dark gray, boom, like this. Now, in the actual assignment, I wouldn't be going this fast because, as you may remember from the lecture, I want everybody to be using a variety of dark grays, not just like one or two. So it would take a little longer to do this because you have to keep deselecting. See, I'll hit select and deselect everything, go back to the color, maybe make it a little lighter gray, go back to the selection tool again and start over. And now I have some grays that are not quite as dark, but they're dark enough to help turn this into my emphasis shape. I'll even get super dramatic, and now I'm going to go for black, or almost black. Again, back to the selection tool again, filling in these gaps. So you got to zoom in way close. And if you have this kind, you can see there's a bit of noise, digital noise, where the shapes touch one another. And if you that's probably a function of me working with the file that I downloaded from your email, because you're working with the original digital files. It'll probably be cleaner than this, but even if it's not, it's no big deal. It'll still work, like the whole grouping thing and the contrast between the background and the foreground items will still, it'll still totally work. So don't worry about that. Okay. Right. So let's look back. All of a sudden now I'm starting to get a shape here. Okay. Like that. That looks great. All right. So the key thing is now, you keep going. And I'm going to stop here again just for the sake of time and speed. And then what you also want to do is to increase the contrast between your dark grouping here that we're looking at and the surrounding lighter background. You want to make the things that are surrounding it as very light. Okay. So I'm going to go back in here and now select a much lighter gray. Okay. Like this. Go back to the selection tool, and now everything that's around that shape, I want to make it really light. In fact, that's not light enough. I'm going to push it even more, make it like almost white. Oh, now that's selected accidentally too large an area, so I'm going to get out of there. Undo the selection and start over. If that happens and you select far too large an area, just, double tap it and it'll go back to where it was. Okay. And again, I'm just doing this super quick. There's some areas down here I think are way too dark. They're potential visual competition for a dark grouping, so I'm going to lighten them up so we don't have that problem. Oh, happened again. There we go. Man, I still want to make it lighter. I'm going to push it way up to white. Right, so there you go. Now you've got this darker, focus emphasis grouping, and it's completely surrounded now. Whoop, I didn't want to do that. Hang on. I still have the selection tool on. Come on, go back. There we go. There. Sorry about that. Come on. Oh crap, it undid everything I did. Well, I think that's my problem, is I start moving too fast and I keep forgetting I have to go back and deselect. And so hopefully that won't happen to you, but that happens to me all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm okay, darker gray, and then I forget to deselect the tool. So anyway, I think you get the idea. I'll do it one more time just to fix some of the mistakes I made. I'm going to select the color again, make it white. And get rid of all of these shapes that were dark before, including the ones that were further away. Because you don't want anything else in the composition to end up being competitive with your primary focal group emphasis. Now I can select the pen. Okay. So here you can see now you have your darker grouping, right? And it's surrounded by mostly really light grays, almost whites. And so now that becomes your figure ground, right there. And then you just do something with a combination of shapes on the other side as well over here, and you should be good to go. So hopefully that answers the questions. If there's anything I didn't cover or that was unclear, you can just email me. I mean, if you need to, we could even do a Zoom meeting. So we're doing it live instead of you just listening to me and not being able to respond. And I'm actually available most of this afternoon if that's convenient for you. Otherwise, hopefully this does the job and you don't need to do that. But if you do, just send me an email and let me know and we could schedule something. All right, Patrick, thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye.